Okay, with the tweet up then, that's gonna be my cue. So, hello and welcome to round 11 here for F1 at Abu Dhabi. Of course, the grid is not the best today, but it's kind of the case usually. With the end of the season, people don't really want to show up when everything's wrapped up. So, yeah, today I'm joined by Jared Fosbury. It's gonna be the other way around compared to maybe what you're normally used to. So, hello, Jared.
Well, good evening, thank you for that introduction. And yeah, it's going to be the other way around today, since getting you trained up for the second tier. But yeah, as you said, not the best turnout, but it is going to change next season. It's going to be a massive turnout next season. We're expecting 100% 20-car grids. But hey, it is what it is, and we've just got to learn from it and adapt. But we've already seen some lap times already on board.
Yeah, and I've just seen Ollie Fluffle intermediate tires, so that's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I think
he
Ollie's trying to be
coming
Mr.
back
Funny
in.
Man. Yeah, he's trying to be Mr. Funny Man, Mr. Big Shot. But hey, if you want to go intermediates, it's up to them. Could be a good strategy. Could save you some soft tyres. But yeah, as I said, Kevin, if you want to read down the lap times, currently the top six.
Yeah, of course, Andre setting an early pole position ahead of his esports teammate, at least, of Julio. Matthew Alder is 33.1, which is actually very close within the top three. There's just over 2/10 in it, I think. So, I mean, I'm sure Matthew Alder is going to be able to do better. We'll actually get up the tires now. I would say that Matthew set that on mediums. Where is it? There you go. Yeah, he did. So, yeah, if he's 2.5 tenths off on mediums, then just kind of shows how quick he is, really. Rocco Walsh also going on. Actually, I didn't even realize this, but I think they're doing the same as last week. They're actually setting times on the inters, so they get a free choice of tyre. They just be a little further up the grid. So that's the reasoning behind that. Matthew Alder will probably not be setting another lap at the end, because mediums are just going to be better to start on. As I have heard him multiple times say that, like, how bad the softs are. Only 3 people qualifying on them right now. Lewis Curtis is on the softs as well in his outlap, and he's going to be starting one now, so I guess we'll go on board with him and see where he's going to put himself. I'm sure he'll be able to go for pole position coming up to turn 1 now, down to 4th gear, just take it completely in 4th, not even a short shift, which is interesting. Now through the flat left and right, can be very dangerous getting up on the curb, very easy to spin out on as well, especially in the race when your tires start getting a bit older. But he comes through the chicane and hairpin, looks very tidy in the early stages. I didn't really catch if he's up on his time or not. As there you go, track map. Coming up to the chicane, that splits the 2 best overtaking opportunities on the track. If you're overtaken in the first straight, I'm sure you'll be able to come back in the second with a bit of DRS and ERS as well. So we're going to come to the 3rd chicane really on this track. The left, right, left are really easy to invalidate on. We'll see if Lewis Curtis does. No, he takes it very, very well, really attacking the curbs as you need to gain as much time as possible. I think that's Brandon Glover just ahead of him. He's going to be on inters as well in his outlap, so hopefully he gets out of the way. Yeah, there he is, Brandon, as Nino goes 5th place, I think there, or I think it was Nino. Of course, on the intermediates going P5. Lewis Curtis is going to come through the final few corners now. He is going to finish his lap. He hasn't invalidated, so he's going to come across the line now, and it should be... No, he's actually P4. 4/10 off the lead, so really not a great lap from Lewis Curtis.
Yeah, as you said, not really a great lap there. He did a 33.3. I've seen him do better times on that. As Andre has just done a 32.5, currently on pole position. But as you said, Nino did move up to 5th. He now dropped to 6th with Andre improving his time. But those guys who are in the 48s, 49s and 49s, they're just mucking about on intermediates. So maybe it's time to stop mucking about and get some soft running. and
Yeah,
try and get a pole.
I think it's going to depend on how many people end up going on the softs, because right now they can get at least 8th on by far the better tyre. It looks like Matthews is going to be setting a lap on softs. Is he actually on a lap? He is in sector 1. So we're going to see how much he's up on his time. Of course, there's only really one corner that matters, a 16.8, not purple at least. So we'll see how he does in the last 2 sectors that matter really a lot more. They've got a lot more corners in them. There's an AlphaTauri and a Ferrari just ahead of him. That's going to be Ollie, and I'm not really sure who the other one's going to be. Both on soft, so not really able to deduce from pace if they were on inters. But through the chicane, there's a little lock-up from Matthews as well. Not going to be helping him out in the exit as the Ferrari and Alpha go side by side there. Brendan Glover improves to P4. He goes on the softs now. So I think people are kind of realizing that the inters aren't going to gain them enough. So hopefully this Ferrari does get out of the way. Nino did actually held him up, or not Nino, I'm sorry, that's Ollie. I'm getting, I was too used to seeing him in a Ferrari earlier this week in FP, but yeah, Ollie took a while to get out of the way there, so not going to be helping out Matthews' lap. We'll see him come through sector 3. Doubtful it's going to be very good, given that was that he got held up just a little bit. Doesn't hit the curb on the inside either, and yeah, he's going to come in to the pits, so yeah, he must be a little annoyed with Ollie there that he wasn't able to get a lap in. Rocco still out on intermediates. Ollie's coming back in, and Nino is in the pits on inters. He hasn't changed his tyre yet. Would be expecting it, given it's 8th at best, but maybe they think it's good enough. If it is, then good for them, I guess. If Matthews decides to go on the inters as well, then I don't see them going on to slicks, but if it's going to be at best 9th, they may as well just go on mediums at least and try to get a little bit better of a track position. So Rocco Walsh on a lap, he's going to be finishing up sector 2. We'll see how much he's up on his time. It's nowhere near, no, he's not up on his time at all, 1 second off. So this isn't going to be an improvement anyway. Ollie Flavel is not on a lap or anything. Lewis Curtis going out on a second lap. Brendan Glover hasn't validated, he's on his in lap, I think. So, I mean, we may as well watch Rocco Walsh. He's the only one actually on a lap, but I would say this is going to be his in lap though, given how bad of a lap this has been. 4 minutes left as well. So Lewis Curtis going through the chicane now. We'll go on board with him and see. Well, I guess we'll be going on board with him a little bit earlier. Everyone else is going to be in the pits. Lewis Curtis the only one out on the track. Of course, right now it's Sansu. Is that a name change, Jared? Do you know?
I think that's what was his name? Martakayan.
Santeri, okay.
Yeah, I think it still is him. I mean, Brian hasn't actually informed us or anything like that of his name change. But yeah, I believe it is. But he's on pole though with a 32.4. That's not bad, and that's what times I expect some of these drivers to hit. Low 32s, possible high 31s. So not bad laps after all.
Yeah, and of course they have their final lap time to do as well, where they will surely be improving. Lewis Curtis is someone who's going to be looking for an improvement. He's down in 7th. He's going to be coming through the final corner now to start his lap. So we'll see how well he can do. Going into turn 1. Okay, so I guess they're not too upset with an 8th with a free choice of tyres. So Lewis Curtis is going to be finishing up sector 1. Surely he's going to be up on his time now. No, just pretty much the same. About half a tenth off as he comes through. Small lockups as well, going through that chicane, that first chicane of the track. So he's going to open DRS, approaching the chicane, which Haas is going through. That's actually Nino. So hopefully he gets out of the way as soon as possible when Lewis Curtis inevitably gets up behind him. Doesn't take the curb on the inside, Lewis Curtis, so maybe he thinks it's better to just stay off it, or I'm not completely sure, but it is certainly quicker to take it, or at least try to take it. He opts to not. So going through the third and final chicane of this track, takes it quite nicely, maybe a little bit more aggressive than the first lap, so we'll see how much he's going to be up. I didn't actually see how much he was up in Sector 2. I assume he was improving, at least. He is still going for it, it seems. So he's going to be coming through the final few corners now. This one you really want to get up on the curb on the inside. He clips it, but could be better. It is, of course, a little bit iffy though, because you can invalidate quite easily. But 33.1 I should say for Lewis Curtis, and a 5th. But that's still 7/10 off pole though. So really, he's gonna want to improve a bit more if he's looking for a good result today. Of course, an 11-car grid, he has to get points, really, you would expect, but...
Well, yeah, you know, you would expect from Lewis, but he is the bottle merchant. You know, in Singapore he overtook a car and then put himself in the wall, so maybe we might see a bit of a repeat. But all jokes aside, I think he could get a good result today. But Rocco Matthew could be using his slipstream tactic here for Rocco, and Rocco may be able to take his first win of the season as it begins his final lap.
Yeah, he may be able to all go on board with Rocco Walsh. He's, of course, finally on the softs. His teammate not too far ahead of him on track, so maybe they're looking for a bit of slipstream. He's going to come through the chicane now, and actually that's an invalidation, so there's not going to be any improvement for him right now. He's going to be actually staying 10th. That's going to be quality over for him. And if Matthews improves, then it could drop him to outside of the top 10, which means his interlap wouldn't have even mattered. Matthew
and
Alder,
also Rocco's on no line as well this race, so he's actually going to be a bit off the pace than he usually is, since he is experimenting with it. So hopefully he can get a good result. But as you said, Matthew currently on a soft run. I don't think he's going to complete it. I think he's going to back off and go mediums.
Yeah, I would assume so. So P6 is quite a good spot, especially when everyone ahead of you is going to be on mediums, and you're also the quickest guy on the track. But he is purple in Sector 2 though, as you would expect from the 4-time champion now. I think it's 3. It is 3, yeah. So 1, 2, yeah, it is 3. Wait, is it? It's 4-time champion now, not 3. My apologies.
Well, 5 if you add to the FP title as well, but yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to come through the final corner. He hasn't invalidated. He was going for it, and he's going to take pole position with a 32.0. So a very quick lap time from him. Julio is going to be crossing the line next. He's going to come through the final corner. We'll see how good he can do. He's going to improve, but not his position, as Brendan Glover's just sitting on the track. We'll see Faz now come up to the line just behind his teammate, only a 10th between them. Lewis Curtis is going to be retiring from the session. Ollie Flavel is going into the pits, so that looks to be your order if I'm not mistaken. Actually no, the two Alpha Tauri is still coming through. Sansu is going to be going for pole position. Of course he's going to try and take away Matthews. Oh, and it was not even too much of a gap. There was only hundredths in it. There was 200ths pretty much between himself and Matthews. So a very good lap from Sansu. Almost takes the pole position away from Matthew. Just couldn't do it, unfortunately for him. But a good try though, very, very good try. You got so close.
Yeah, that was a very close gap between them two. And Matt Kane again has just proven that he can improve. Second place on the grid. Hopefully he can get a good result. But I think Rocco could be a surprise in the end of this race.
Yeah, he could be. Of course, he's going to have the free choice of tyre, as will Nino and Ollie Flavel. But anyway, your grid is Matthew Alder, of course, taking pole position. That's not the first time that's happened, we'll say that much. Sansu takes P2, only 21 thousandths off. And then it's the two Alpha drivers of Andre and Julio in third and fourth, and, well, the three, I should say, Pedro in fifth as well. Brandon Glover in sixth, Lewis Curtis not too good in seventh, could definitely have done better, I think. Matthews in 8th, and then Nino, Ollie and Rocco 9th, 10th and 11th, all qualifying on inches. Of course, Rocco didn't want to, at least. He tried a softs at the end, but he invalidated, so it didn't work out for him. As we get underway for the formation lap, of course, it's going to be Matthew Walder leading the pack away. He's well used to it at this rate. The two AlphaTauris both behind him, so could be a little bit of team strategy between the two, trying to maybe get past Matthew Walder, but it's going to have to be a very good start from Satansu to be able to control this race. Of course, the two Williams last week out had pretty good control of it in Hungary, but it didn't work out when Matthew did that undercut that propelled him into the lead, and that was pretty much all she wrote. He pulled away and took a very dominant win. So it is very hard to beat Matthew, of course. So it's going to take a lot from the two AlphaTauris to beat him, and the two Renaults actually as well, directly behind of Julio and Pedro. So a few teams quite close together today, and right up the front as well. So they'll be able to control it a little bit. Might end up being the AlphaTauris versus the Renaults for second place in the end, when Matthew probably will pull away, unless, as I said, Sansu can do something. Brandon Glover in 6th. If he can get a bit of a good start, maybe he can upset the two Renaults, but he's going to be alone in his attack of them, and Lewis Curtis as well. He's a lone AlphaTauri. Really, people at the back all just alone, no teammate in sight for them. And then Rocco Walsh, of course, making it a Racing Point sandwich the entire grid. So should be a good race. It's set up to be a good race, especially if we see a little bit of strategy between the AlphaTauris and Renaults. Maybe one person pitting a little earlier to try and get people to blink. As I think that was a hit there, yeah. Disqualification for both of the Renaults, unfortunately. But luckily for them, it was at the end. As we line up now for the start. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go, and it looks like Matthew's got off the line well. Someone else, Julio, has got a pretty good start. He's trying to go down the inside of the AlphaTauri there of Andre. Can't make it work. Brendan Glover trying it on Pedro in the background, but it looks like everyone's going to funnel through. Matthew Walder ahead of Sansu, Andre, Julio and Faz in the top 5. There's Rocco Walsh, a very good start. He's going down the inside of Lewis Curtis. He's got the mediums on as well, so he's going to have the tyre advantage a little later on in this race. He's made his way up into 8th place. Unfortunately, couldn't make that move on Lewis Curtis, so he's going to actually drop down to 9th with a bad exit there. So we'll go on board with him. He's going to be trying it on Ollie Flavel. Ollie Flavel moves to cover him off. He's going to try and round the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next corner if he can hang it in there. But no, Ollie Flavel is going to squeeze him out there. And actually a bad exit from Ollie Flavel. So Rocco is going to get another chance here. Maybe into the chicane of turn 11. A few people actually going side by side. The Haas is going to dive it down the inside. That's Nino versus Rocco there. And the Red Bull getting involved as well. Could have ended it in tears easily. No wing damage, it looks like, at all. Still going side by side. The top guys staying pretty much the same. They're losing a lot of time here at the back. You can see on the track map as well, they're losing quite a bit. But the Haas is going to drop off Nino by about 6-7 tenths now. So he's going to have to claw that gap back and try and stay in the DRS. Lewis Curtis in the background going side by side with Matthews as well. Matthews trying it down the inside of the penultimate corner, I should say. And he's going to keep it in as a bit of a glitch, so I couldn't get the right guy. But Lewis Curtis on the inside now, still going side by side, these two. So a very good fight between them, and Matthews is going to come out on top, going to hang it right around the outside and take P10. But we'll go up to the front if we can find it because of this like little glitch leaderboard. But Matthew Walder still leading the way ahead of the two AlphaTauris who have held position so far. Julio and Faz hold position pretty much as well. I'll get the information up, or some of the information at least. I haven't actually done that yet, my apologies. Just a lot happening in the early stages, but yeah, early on the top 5 stay pretty much the same, but at the back a lot of fighting.
Yeah, a lot of fighting indeed, and I was actually on that board, that battle between Lewis and Matthews. It was actually going side by side through the triple right-hander, the fast right-hander as you will around this track, and it was nice tight, nice and clean. Nino and Rocco, as you were mentioning, a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of wheel banging, but they are teammates in FP, so hopefully no love lost. And speaking about Nino, he just got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting.
Very early, only lap 3. So
Alphaville is in trouble, it looks like, because he's getting challenged by Nino here, Kevin.
Yeah, indeed he is, going through the double left-hander 18 and 19. Of course, Nino with that very early penalty, both of them on the medium, so there's no tyre advantage for either of them. It's going to be purely pace, and of course now there is DRS enabled being lap 3, so that will help out a little bit as well. Ollie Flavel 1 second off just of the car in front, so that's going to help out Nino if he can just stick with him here. DRS is going to be an advantage as Ollie Flavel doesn't have the best curb there. As I said, in quali you want to kind of stay off it a little bit. Going through into the hairpin now, Ollie Flavel hasn't been able to get that. He's just outside the DRS, very unlucky for him. So I think we're going to see Nino go for a move, as we see a very nice camera shot here. DRS activated, he might dive it, you never know. He's going to look for it, but no, he's going to stick behind for now. Going through the chicane as both of these guys pull away from Matthews, Rocco and Lewis behind, but Nino is really going to be going for it now. He's going to be on the outside for the chicane. He is going to be trying it as Brandon Glover follows the two Renaults very closely, and Nino does make that move just before the corner and is up into 7th place past Ollie. Of course, that penalty not going to be the best thing, because if he's going to get one that quick, it probably means he's going to be getting more soon, but even then, getting it this early on, it's never good.
Yeah, it's never good. You know, it can easily cost you if you're fighting for a championship or anything like that, which did cost him in FP, in the FP tier. And ironically, in the FP tier, he didn't actually have that many penalties. It was like at the final couple of laps. So I'm quite surprised Nino's got a penalty this early on, and the first one to get a penalty. But right now I'm on board with the battle for, I'd say, 3rd place right now, or 4th place. Pedro's a bit under pressure now by Julio and Brandon Glover, and also Nino, and now Ollie's now in the mix as well, so we could have a nice 5-car fight.
Yeah, of course, the two Reynolds, I would think. I mean, I'm pretty sure they are friends. I mean, they're in the same esports team as well, being teammates. I don't think they'd be fighting each other too much, but yeah, Julio has just about held on to DRS. Brandon Glover right behind him. Doesn't look like the DRS is going to help enough, at least going through into the chicane of turn 8. So he's going to have to stick behind for now. So is Nino, as Nino really closes up. After getting past Ollie, he's already up the back of Brandon Glover, and Brandon actually had a very bad exit. He got up on the curb, and now Nino is up into 6th place. So Nino is making moves. Of course, he's got the pen. I mean, I keep saying it, but it is so significant. But if you take away the penalty, he's having a very good race. Of course, now he's right up the back of the two Renaults, and don't forget, he's on the better strategy. He's started on the medium, so the softs will be able to go longer and stay a little bit more healthy by the end, because less fuel on board, less tyre wear. Same with Ollie to some extent, but he's lost the DRS of Nino now, and he's going to be under pressure from Brandon. And after making that mistake, I'm sure Brandon's going to come back now. So we'll see Nino now. He's right up the back of Julio as Brandon gets past. I can't see. Oh no, Brandon's actually pitting. Same with Lewis Curtis very early on. No wing change.
Oh, they were on softs, weren't they? So yeah, it's the softs will roughly die out around about this period anyway. So it's going to be a lot more of an advantage with this undercut now. And yeah. Let's see what happens later in the race between them two.
Yeah, and I just saw that's Pedro trying to get a bit of slipstream from the AlphaTauri ahead, but here goes Nino now down the inside on the mediums, and it's going to be an easy move. He's going to place his car quite well going through the second part of that chicane, and he's going to keep the position up to P5, so he's making a lot of progress. Next up on his kind of hitless, if you want to put it like that, is Pedro and then the two AlphaTauris. Matthew Alder, by the way, 1.6 seconds clear in the lead. So he's already broken DRS. I think he's just kind of relaxing right now. Doesn't need to push. So, yeah, I would say Nino isn't going to be catching Matthew Alder, even if he was to make the move for second soon. But, yeah, he is closing now. So Julio's going to have to try and use Nino to catch back up, because otherwise he's going to lose DRS on his teammate. So, yeah, of course, Nino kind of seems the quickest on the track, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job right now, in 5th place.
And Brandon, by the way, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Or I think it was a 3, we'll see, maybe it was a 5, no, it is a 3. So, just out of the DRS range, Pedro is actually right at the back of Andre. Andre has very much lost the DRS, so Andre is going to be going on the outside, Andre is going to go to the inside, I should say. Pedro to the outside, and he makes the move for P3 very easily in the straight, but can he come back at him now? That's what I was saying earlier as well, that this second straight you can certainly make moves on it, but I think that AlphaTauri is a little bit too far back, and he's not going to be able to make a move now. So up to P3 for Pedro. As Sansu actually keeps a pretty steady gap to the championship winner, I should say, but yeah, it's been like 1.5, 1.6 for a while. I would say that Matthew can only extend the advantage, but he's doing well, Sansu, to keep with him.
Yeah, I've got to give him that. He's only 1.5 seconds off.
Oh, and
usually
in goes Andre now, so he's going to be going for an undercut on Pedro, who, of course, just got past him last lap.
Yeah, it was actually, he came up on the right side, his pit window was open, so it must have been his time to pit then. Let's see what tyres, it is the medium compound. So he might be trying soft, medium, soft, or soft, medium, medium here, Karen, so he could be a good guy to watch out to see if it was the right time, and see how much time he does gain, because look where Brandon is now. Brandon's actually going to pass Matthews, it looks like.
Yeah, he is, of course. He was kind of fighting with Matthews early on, so he's going to be very much ahead, as Andre gets 2.2 seconds out clear of Brandon Glover. Brandon Glover pit quite a few laps ago, trying to get a bit of an undercut. It might actually work though. 2.2 seconds off, he might end up undercutting people like Ollie, maybe Nino as well. But that kind of just depends on when they pit. Of course, they're both on mediums. So we'll see Nino now. He's still not in the DRS of Pedro. He's working on it for sure. 1.1 seconds away. And I think he has actually broken into it now, more or less. So if Pedro doesn't respond to Andre, which I would assume that he is going to be responding, because an undercut is so powerful around this track, as we saw from Bran. So yeah, Nino is going to be able to pick up a place from Pedro pitting. Sansu maybe is going to be thinking about a pit stop. No, he's going to stay out. Matthew Alder actually is in the pits. Sansu's staying out, of course. So he obviously would have seen Matthew come in, so he decided to stay out. So maybe he thinks that Matthew's going to have to fight too much. Not sure, but I would assume that Matthew is just going to get a very good undercut. As now you see Sansu 4 seconds out of Pedro. Nino right up the back of Pedro. He's going to be looking for a move through the hairpin. He must have had a better exit. No, not really, as Ollie actually saves his car in the background. I just spotted that. But Nino now is going to be using his overtake button. He's surely in rich as well, and he makes the move for P2 now. Well, on track at least. I think it's a net P3 or something around there. So Nino's going to keep pushing on. Now 4 seconds to catch on Sansu, who really should be pitting this lap. I don't think you should be taking him any more than this. So, yeah. Nino should inherit the lead very soon, at least. As that's Matthews getting past Julio.
Yeah, it was a very easy move that looked like there.
Very interesting, as Julio's going to try and come back at him, but it doesn't look like it will work. So Matthews, yeah, Matthew with a penalty as well. But Matthews, he wasn't really fighting Julio, I should say, at all. Of course, Julio's fighting for like a P2. Well, more so a P3 as Sansu pits now. But that undercut has worked out very well for him. Because he pit with Bran a few laps ago, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did, actually. No, Lewis pit with Bran.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, Lewis hasn't really cut that much, really, to be honest. He's got a gap now 3.8 seconds, and he was actually fighting Matthews earlier.
One thing, though, Andre might be coming. No, he's not. I was going to say that he might be coming out alongside his teammate, but his teammate is just outside of the DRS window as well. He might think about slowing down to give his teammate a bit of a tow, try and get him away from people behind. Of course, Pedro's still yet to pit on those old softs, very, very old softs at this point. Nino just ahead of him, 1.4 seconds up the road. As Matthew Waller has come out in 5th, that's 3.4 seconds off his teammate, actually. Sansu, 4 seconds off Matthew. Sansu actually gets a penalty as well, so that's unfortunate for him. As he pushes on, well, the two AlphaTauris, looks like they did their pit stops a lot better than the Renaults. Of course, Julio comes out behind Matthews and he's fighting with him. He really shouldn't be, or shouldn't have been. His teammate's staying out, so you can only assume that his teammate's going to come out behind him. So the Renaults were running a 4-5 early on, but I don't think they're going to be keeping it, or at least not now, or not for now. As finally in comes Pedro.
Pedro's in. So Pedro's then in. What tire's he going on? Let's have a look. Lap 10. Matthews sets new fast lap, 36.6. Renault crew, medium tyres. Everyone's roughly staying on the same tyre strategy then.
Yeah, and the final pit stops would be onto mediums or softs. It just depends how long they took them. I would assume Pedro is going to be looking for a softs, but there you go. He comes out in 10th. The two AlphaTauris were only just ahead of him early on, and they're in 5th and 6th. A net P2 and 3 after Rocco, Ollie, and Nino make their pit stops. So, really think the Renaults didn't handle the pit stops as well as they could have. As Nino gets another penalty while out in front. He's 3 seconds ahead of Ollie, but 3 seconds behind if you count penalties. As actually, there you go. I didn't even expect Matthew to be making a move that quickly, but I would assume it wasn't hard fought as he's passing his teammate. So Matthew goes up into P3 and he can push on for this win. Matthews has just made a move on Brandon Glover as well, going into the same chicane. Pretty easy under DRS, I would assume, and he's up into P7. Brandon Glover drops to 8th. Two Renaults behind this battle. Really, they shouldn't be because they're on fresher tyres than both of them. Should have pit earlier, but they didn't.
That's interesting.
Oh,
then that pit's...
Brandon, I thought he was... He certainly lost the rear. He kind of drifted through turn... I'm not completely sure. That's turn 19. He probably got a warning for it as well. I'm not sure if he had an incident with Matthews or anything, but he did drift through. He cut the corner completely while trying to save his car. Oh, I thought he was going to crash into the pit wall, but didn't. Well, not pit wall, but the wall. As Julio gets past him, and now he's under pressure from Pedro as well. So going down the straight, I would assume Pedro is going to be making this move. He's going to be looking for it. Which way is Brandon going to go? Well, Pedro's going to force his way around the outside. And he's going to get a bit of slipstream from his teammate as well, up into 9th place. Pretty easy for the Renault man. And now we can follow his teammate again, who is closely following Matthews. I would assume Matthews is going to get overtaken soon, at least. Those tires not quite as good as Julio's.
Oh, Brian gets another pen. She said. Not really good for him. Right now he's actually no. When did Lewis get a pen?
Lewis, jeez, I'm not sure.
Well, I was going to just say then, Brand's basically under threat by Lewis now by penalties, but he's not actually. As Matthew has just passed Ollie, as Ollie and Rocco Walsh are in the pit lane.
Yep, so they finally come in. Nino, of course, on the same strategy as them. He's going to be staying out at least for one more lap. Rocco Walsh is going to be out his pit box now. Where is Ollie going to come out? It looks like it's going to be just in front of Lewis Curtis. It actually might be a side-by-side moment here. Ollie Flevel is going to be just ahead, is he? No, actually, side-by-side is Lewis Curtis loses it.
He's out!
Quite dramatically into the wall.
He's out! Whoa, I called it. He tried to overtake somebody and then he's into the wall. Classic Lewis, you know, but geez, that is a weird crash. Well, that's Lewis out the rest, then we have 10 cars left.
Yeah, very, of course, getting up on that curb is, on its own, can be dangerous, but when you're fighting a car, as on top of that, kind of understandable why it happened, but maybe you should have been a little bit more careful to not let that happen. Quite a dramatic crash, as I think the two Renaults just switched places, so... Or no, they're not actually switching places. It looks like it was a bit of a fight there through the chicane. So, Pedro... I think he was getting past Julio, because he was the one who pit after his teammate, so obviously I think the one with the fresher tires is going to be the quicker one. As Nino is finally in for his stop, we'll see where he comes out compared to Ollie Flevel, who was following about 3 seconds behind. We'll see how strong an undercut is going to be after he funnels out of the pit lane. Nino is leaving his pit box. He's in the tunnel now, so he is going to come out ahead of Ollie. It's just really by how much is he going to come out ahead of Ollie, as that gap has actually been halved. Cut in half, 1.5 seconds when it was 3. So yeah, it looks like that undercut from Ollie worked a lot. Worked quite nicely for him. As Nino right behind Brandon Glover now. He's probably going to be making a pretty easy move. Brandon Glover doesn't have any DRS. So in the straight, Nino with DRS, he's going to be looking for it. He's going to go down the inside. It's going to be side by side actually between the two. Brandon Glover maybe going to brake late. No, he's going to brake early and try and get a bit of a switch back. But it's not going to work out, of course, those mediums versus softs. Softs are far superior as everyone funnels through in the slipstream. That's Red Bull making move. That's Pedro versus Matthews. Matthews on the outside. It looks like Pedro's going to be able to make this move now. Pedro the one making the overtake. And yeah, he squeezes him out up into 4th place. So now it's going to be Julio's turn really to make that move. Nino, of course, on fresh softs, he's going to be looking for a few moves as he gets held up by a train. I'm sure this isn't what he wanted. If he pit a lap earlier, maybe he could have been ahead of this train, but you can't predict everything. As he follows right behind Julio.
I'll be back in a sec, Kevin. Just I'll make a quick phone call.
Yeah. Nino right up the back of him now. Very, very, very close. He almost hits him potentially if he got a bit more slipstream, uses a bit of overtake, but he's going to go right around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next corner through the chicane, and an easy move there for Nino on the softs compared to the mediums, and he's going to be up into P6. Now his next target going to be Matthews. He's going to open up DRS. He's not going to be able to make a move into the chicane at this occasion at least, as there has been a few comments in the chat. I'll see if I can take a look at them. I will, after this straight, just in case any moves are made, as actually there might be a move being made. Julio was trying to come back at Nino after being overtaken. Nino, of course, on the far superior tires, and he's going to actually back off. He decides that move isn't worth it, so I'm going to have a look at that comment just really quick. Okay, well, that's just, well, hello Lewis and Ross then. Well, reading the comments, see, now we're missing overtakes. Nino, it seems a very daring overtake around the outside of what was turn 17, I think. And he's going to make his way up into 5th now, 1.1 seconds behind Pedro. He's going to be closing significantly. With all them fighting, maybe when he comes out for his last pit stop, he might be a little bit ahead of him. That's a little bit of lag there. But yeah, there you go, he's in the DRS of Pedro. Matthews has actually lost DRS, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him as well. Excuse me. Doesn't look like a move's going to be happening from Nino. And Brandon Glover a little bit under pressure from Ollie Flavel, only 3/10 behind. We'll have a look. Of course, he's on soft tyres. He's not going to be able to make a move. Nino Romanello now, he's going to open up the DRS with a little bit of overtake. Maybe he's going to be looking for this move. He's going to look to the right. It's Pedro who really covers off the left-hand side, makes sure that he can't go down the inside. But Nino right around the outside, a very easy move. Also sets a purple sector 2 for good measure. And he's up into P4 now. He can push on and try and catch the two Alpha Tauris, who are a little bit up the road, 3.5 seconds. But I'm sure he's going to be able to get that gap down quite quickly as Ollie Flavel overtakes. No, he's actually... he was momentarily getting overtaken by Matthews. He was following closely, and I say closely, very closely, to the back of Brandon Glover here. Maybe he might be looking for a move as soon as the penultimate corner. No, he's going to stick behind, try and get a better exit. Now as Brandon Glover has a bad exit, he's going to go down the inside of turn 1. Not often you see moves being made here. There's no DRS available for this straight, but down the inside for Ollie Flavel, and the superior grip is going to allow him to easily go on the inside, and he's up to P7 now. He's going to be pushing on to try and catch Julio. Of course, Nino has already cleared both of these Renaults, so Ollie having to fight a little bit more. He's going to be losing quite a bit of time to Nino. Of course, before the pit stops it was 3 seconds. It's now about 4 or 5 seconds to Nino because of all this fighting he has to do. Nino clearing the cars a little bit better, as it's now just about 2 seconds behind Andre 8 seconds behind his teammate now, so not looking like anyone else is going to be taking the P2 from Santeri. As Ollie Flavel follows quite closely, and he's going to go down the inside of Julio, and he can't make it work. Julio defends quite well, and he's going to keep that position. 3/10 between them. He's going to be trying to close up through the very tricky complex of I'm not really sure what you would call it, but it has the geez, I forget what it's called completely. I apologize, but yeah, the dome, I think it is. Flavel really trying to close this. Actually, Andre lagged out. That's very unfortunate for him. He was in a pretty solid P3. Nino, of course, has now got past him. And it looks like... not Julio, Pedro is going to be making the move soon, as we've lost his name, unfortunately, as his teammate follows quite closely behind. And it looks like it's going to be an easy move unless he doesn't want to make it. We'll see. Well, that's a very bad camera shot, as Pedro is going to pull to the left-hand side of the track, and he's going to go down the inside of his teammate, and a pretty easy move there. And maybe he might come back at his teammate, though he is going to come back with a bit of ERS as well at his disposal, and he's going to take back that P5. Ollie Flavel can't do anything, he's just watching the Renaults battling a little bit. I think maybe it might be a little bit of team strategy to try and have them battle so no one else can get involved, so they can secure a P5 and 6 for themselves. Not completely sure as they close up a lot to Andre here. Ollie Flavel, of course, on what should be quicker tires as well. So we must be getting frustrated being held up this much. Nino Romanello 9.3 seconds behind Santeri, so wouldn't be expecting him to be closing up too much, as we've got a few more viewers in the stream. So hello guys, feel free to talk in the chat. As Ollie Flavel now very, very close to the back of Julio and his teammate just fighting not too long ago. Doesn't look like they'll be fighting this time. So a little less secure for this P6. Ollie Flavel is going to have a little bit better of an exit. He's going to open up the DRS flap. Julio's actually already lost DRS on his teammate, so Ollie's going to pull to the left hand side, and it looks like he'll have this move done before the corner, and he's up to P6. So now we can push on and try and pass the next Renault of Pedro here, who is trying to chase down Andre. Andre, it looks like he's back in this session. Good for him, but he has lost a bit of time, 1.5 seconds between himself and Pedro here. So maybe Pedro, if he pushes a little bit, he could get back in the DRS like he was in the early stages of this race. For Andre's sake, I kind of hope that doesn't happen, because he doesn't deserve it. He did lag out. It wasn't really his fault, but yeah, Nino as well getting past him. Oh, well, hello again, Jared.
I have returned. Apologies for that. Did I miss any action? Any
well, quite a bit. Andre had lagged out. It looks like he's actually going to come into the pits now. But Andre was about 3 seconds ahead of Nino, I think 2-3 seconds, and of course he lagged out, which meant that he was only a little bit ahead of the two Renaults. Ollie has been trying to make his way through past both of the Renaults. The Renaults fought a little bit, which I think was a bit of team strategy to stop Ollie from making any moves, but Ollie did eventually get past Julio, and he's going to be looking for a move on Pedro any time now. Of course, Pedro has no DRS either. Nino up into P3 on the softs. He's been clearing people quite well, and will probably be making a move, a stop very soon. I was thinking about it, Andre actually is going to be looking for an undercut maybe on Nino, as he's on fresh softs now, going to the end on lap 19 out of 28. So yeah, that's pretty much the rundown. Not much has really happened at the back. Brandon Matthews and Rocco kind of occupying the spots for a while, but now here comes Ollie Flavel. He's going to be looking for the inside. It looks similar to earlier. He tried a move, but Pedro fends him off once again through the same chicane, so he can't make a move. Of course, the softs are going to be going off a little bit now, so it's not going to be helping him, as Matthew Alder now pits for his second and final pit stop. Santeri is going to be staying out, so we'll see what tyres Matthew Alder goes on to. Should be softs, yeah, it is. On go the soft tyres, as Nino Romanello follows him in only 6, well, actually 7 laps on those softs, as the game kind of doesn't count one of the laps, I think, very annoyingly, but
yeah, I don't know why it does that. As Ollie then is also in the pit lane, same with one of the Renaults of Julio, followed him in. That is interesting.
Oh, well, Ollie actually jumped him, I think. He did.
No, Julio was behind him.
Oh no, Julio was behind him already. Never mind.
But I think, you know, the leader right now, Santos, I can't
Santeri,
say.
Marticon.
Yep, Santeri. I think if he can try 8 laps, he could try and take those mediums to the end. He's got a 13-second gap, and if he wants to win this race, I'd take them to the end, or try at least, because Matthews, yeah, he's going to gain a second a lap, but he ain't going to gain that much in 8 laps. Is he? So I'd say,
yeah. I did do this with Rocco as well. Of course, with no line, he was a little bit closer to my pace He tried a 1-stop. I was trying a 2-stop to just try and see which would actually be better. Of course, the game says that a 2-stop is better, but in the end, it was actually a lot closer than you would expect. In the end, there probably would have only been a second between us. Not really sure how it would have went, but in general, they seemed very similar strategies. So really, the point is that Centauri, well, he's going to be pitting anyway, but Centauri could have taken those to the end, though, potentially. Although he may be pitting a little later would have helped, though he pit a little earlier than what a 2-stop would allow.
That is also true, and also right now we see a nice little fight, 4-car fight right now. Rocco, Ollie, Julio and Matthews fighting for 7th place.
Yeah, indeed, of course, Ollie, Julio and Rocco all on fresh softs now. Matthews is going to be holding up the train a little bit on the mediums. It's going to be definitely an advantage for the 3 behind. Going through Sector 1, it's really just a slipstream sector, to be honest. As of course, yeah, he improves because it's just the slipstream helps out so much. But Matthews doesn't have any DRS on the car in front. In terms of ERS, it looks like Ollie has a decent amount. He's going to be looking for a move. He opens up DRS now, so there's the advantage, and he's going to be looking to the inside of the chicane, and he's going to be making that move pretty easily. Matthews now actually under pressure a little bit from Julio. Julio looks down the inside. He doesn't actually make the move, but can he make the move now, as Matthews actually has a bit of a bad exit as well. He opens up DRS. He's going to be, I would think, using a bit of ERS as well. No, he doesn't. Julio, I think, should have, because Ollie's going to be getting away now. Brandon not too far up the road. If he can make the move on Brandon quick enough, he could end up putting like 2 cars between himself and the guys he's fighting with, like, to the end. So really, I think Julio should have went for that move.
Yeah, positive. Probably that would have been a better call to do, but as you could also say, he could take his time, relax a little bit, because he's on the freshest softs out of everyone here. Well, except Ollie, they're basically the same. So Ollie could make a mistake. We've seen Lewis crash out, unfortunately, and as he was trying to make a move. Ollie is very in a similar situation as Lewis. He can crack under pressure quite easily, and he's actually catching up with Bran. But I think Julio, he's still got plenty of time if he wants to try and catch up with Ollie.
Yeah, it is true. But now actually Matthews has lost DRS on Ollie. So not only is Julio going to have to make the move, but he's also going to have to close back in the DRS. We'll see if Ollie can make a move on Brandon Glover here. He's not going to be able to do it. Julio, I always get confused with Sirenos, but Julio down the inside of Matthews, and it's going to be an easy move down the inside. Doesn't look like Matthews has an answer. He doesn't, as Julio, it doesn't actually get the second bite of the cherry. Here goes Ollie Flavel now on Brandon Glover. He's going to be looking to the inside. It's of course softs versus mediums, an easy move there, as now Rocco tries to go down the inside of Matthews, and Matthews losing 2 positions in 2 corners really. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. Rocco is still there, and yeah, he's going to be making the move up into 9th place, so Matthews drops to 10th. And on those mediums, I don't think he's going to be making much gains until the very end, when those softs start becoming at least on par with the mediums. But don't really see how he's going to close back up though. So unfortunate for Matthews.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for him. Right now he's lost too much time on mediums, of course, so he's going to lose more time against the soft runners. But anything can happen. There could be a crash, could be a late safety car, which is almost could not happen. It's on lap 23 out of 28, so in a couple of laps' time the safety car will not be enabled if there's a massive crash or anything. But look at Matthew. 10 seconds gap is. Matthew in his own little F1 tier, F1, and then everybody else on F1 1.5, I must say. Because Matthew's just dominating right now. 10-second gap.
Yeah, of course. He's on course for his 10th win of the season, 10 out of 11, that is. So, yeah, it couldn't have really been more dominant. Maybe he could say, oh, well, I could have got that other win, but, I mean, yeah, he could have. He could have taken every win. He had the potential to take every win this season. He just, I think it was just I can't even remember what one he didn't win. He had so many, so...
Yeah, it was Baku he didn't win.
Baku, yeah, because of the penalties, the safety car.
Yeah. You know, that's what happens in racing now and then. You know, sometimes you think you can win it and then you don't. And it's good to see him not win every race because it would just be boring. But it has been not boring, not the boringest season I've seen, but it's still been Matthew domination. But Rocco this time has been there. We should be having more competition next season against Matthew, but you know, just people need to have a bit more training, and maybe one day someone could beat him. You never know. They have Tori in second place. You know, he could even challenge him next season. So anything can happen.
Yeah, and speaking of things that can happen, Julio has actually closed back up to Ollie's within his DRS once again. So really, in hindsight, maybe making that move would have been too risky in his opinion. Nino is making a move on Pedro there into the chicane. Looks like an easy move. Of course, he's on softs versus mediums. Those mediums have gone 13 laps. They're probably going to be taken to the end now as Pedro tries to use his ERS as Rich makes to try and close back up but can't make it work, and he's going to have to settle for P4 now. I think that's where he's going to end up finishing, as the soft rooms behind. A little bit too far behind, I think, in my opinion, to be catching like the 8-second gap that it is. Well, and Andre, the only one who can catch that 8-second gap realistically. It's a 12-second for Ollie. So I think, especially without pens, that Pedro should be fine for this P4. Nino has run a very good race, but he's actually still got penalties. You can't forget about that. He has now 12 seconds, so he has to actually pull quite the gap if he wants to keep this P3, and I don't really think a gap like that is possible in the last 4 laps. So actually it's not going to be Nino taking that podium unless something drastic changes.
Well, yeah, as I said earlier, anything could happen, but yeah, you're right, Nino I don't think he's going to get it because Pedro's got no pens. So I think this has been the first season Pedro hasn't actually had a win this season. I think it's the first time he hasn't, because I don't remember him winning Baku. I think it was Matthews who won Baku, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a shame for Pedro then. Maybe this season was a bit of a fluke.
Yeah, but I mean, in the same respect though, Matthew's been on another level this season. Like, compared to his normal, like, domination, like, this has been levels above it, really. I mean, at the same time, he hasn't really had the competition he's usually had. Like, in Season 6, he had Louis. Season 6?
Oh!
I can't even remember.
Whoa.
Safety car!
Safety car. Brian has binned it.
What does... Oh, Matthew's passed the pit lane already.
Oh, Matthew,
and he might be behind the safety car. I'm not sure. The safety car's coming out. No, he's going to be well ahead of it, so he's going to get to pit still. So actually,
yeah,
it's not bad for Matthew.
He's going to be on a delta though. But still,
yeah, everyone is though. That's the thing. If everyone's on a delta, then he can't lose time.
Pedro's on softs. And the Mercedes, it looked like Brandon was actually going to pit because the Mercedes crew just went in their pits, back in the pits when Renner came in. So that is a shame there for Bran. But could give Andre a chance for the win? Because let's have a look at penalties. Matthew's got 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh no, hang on a minute. They've got to catch up. I don't know. Will everyone catch up with the safety car? Because the safety car stopped. It's lap 26. It's only going to be out for a lap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's waiting for Matthew. So Matthew can pit. Everyone will have to still have a delta, which means that he'll still get his free pit stop.
Right now, though, we could see Santi, Montcano, Pedro, or even Andre win this race, because right now, Matthew don't look like he's going to win it. Nino's definitely not with 12 seconds. You know, we could even see a surprise Ollie Favell possible on the podium if he gets away. Because there's no way Matthew, even though he thinks he's a god and everything, there's no way he can build a 6-second gap within a lap. It's just impossible unless he's on really fresh tyres.
I mean, I'm sure he's capable of it, though. Because he needs to get 3 seconds to Santeri, 6 seconds to Andre, and he's down at 4th. So Andre really will have to have a good safety car restart if he's looking for...
Matthew's in, though.
Yeah, in goes Matthew, yeah.
I wonder if any of the...
Santeri stays out.
That's
Nino
crucial.
is staying out. I mean, he's well past the pit lane, so...
Yeah. Matthew's just going to be ahead of Andre then. But everyone's going to have enough time, I think. I think Matthews will be probably in the second fast chicane, the 3 right.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1-lap sprint. So Matthew isn't actually going to... Yeah, Matthew isn't going to get to his 10th out of 11 wins.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, you know, because it's...
Or his 9th win in a row. That's what he was looking for today.
Imagine if they had the rule where the safety car said, alright, that's it, we're staying out. Safety car's staying out to the final lap. And it would just cost Matthew and Nino and Santos completely. But right now, we could have a different winner.
Yeah. It's true.
It's going to be good then. Just need the other guys to catch up. I'm guessing they're going to catch up round about the next
chicane.
Yeah,
they'll definitely catch up, so... It's going to be a 1-lap sprint race to the finish, where Matthew has to pass Santeri and build a 3-second gap to him, and also hope that it's a 6-second gap to Andre, which don't really think it's going to happen. Doesn't look possible. It is Matthew, but he's not going to be 6 seconds a lap quicker, like that's not.
Oh yeah, that's not really going to be his goal, I don't think. There's no way he can do that. If he does, then I'll retract my statement and I'll ask Colin God for a season. But you could put, I don't know, a guy in 06 Renault and Matthew. Then there's a possibility within a lap to build a 6-second gap. But in these cars and equal, it's just not possible within a lap. Even with fresh rubber, it's not going to happen. But the thing is, he only has to build a 3-second gap to... If he needs to overtake Pantera and then needs to build a 3 seconds, so he could possibly do that.
Yeah, but here we go though for the restart. Santeri, it's when he wants to go, so if he can get a good restart, then he can kind of secure at least beating Matthew. So he's going to go out of the final corner. There's a Haas there that instantly crashed. Matthew is already making a move on Santeri down the inside, a pretty easy move there, up into first place once again for him. Nino is going to stick in P3 as everyone funnels through once again. Matthew Alder ahead of Santeri, Nino, Andre and Ollie Flavel in 5th. He's got a very surprising penalty from Ollie. Not usually one to get penalties. I wouldn't expect it from him. So yeah, he's going to be running P5. I would assume it's only a 3-second pen that he has anyway though, as everyone is going to be going through. No DRS for anyone, by the way, because the safety car only just came in. That's how the rules work. So everyone's going to have to do this purely on slipstream. Julio and Pedro may be fighting. No, Pedro goes a little bit deep, so he's not going to be able to make a move on his teammate as they all funnel through very satisfyingly through the chicane. A very nice camera shot from the ground there. There's 8 tenths between Matthew Alder. Is really he's not made the gaps that he needs to. He needs to extend that by another 2 seconds in this final sector alone. Matthews there gets another penalty. As Andre actually got a penalty, so he's not going to be able to win this race anymore. Santeri is 1.3 seconds behind Matthew. He's not going to lose that much in the final bit, so Matthew Alder is going to come through the final corner and he's going to take the win, at least on track. Can Santeri do it? Yes, he can, and he's going to be the actual winner. Andre gets promoted to 3rd. No, that's Pedro getting promoted to 3rd with no penance, I don't think. So there's no penalties at the end. Very, very beneficial, and he's going to come away with the podium. But yeah, for only the second time this season, it's going to be the third time this season we're going to see a different winner, and the second time that Matthew gets beaten. Literally, because every other time he's beat the whole grid, so there you go. Sunteri takes the win in Abu Dhabi, the final race of the season. Must be a confidence boost as well if he's going to be driving next season as well. So he's going to spray the champagne to celebrate a win. Really, it's prestigious to beat Matthew in IRL, I should say. So, 4-time champion. He's won everything, and he's just going to keep winning for some time to come, you would think. So yeah, beating him is quite an achievement. But yeah, here we go. Sunteri, as you know, takes the win ahead of Matthew Older, and Pedro rounds out the top 3, and then it's Andre and Matthews to take 4th and 5th. A lot of Brazilians on this grid. So Julio takes P6, Rocco Walsh in P7, Nino Romanello, he crossed the line in P3 but dropped all the way down to 8th, Ollie Flavel in 9th, very surprising for him to have penalties, and then Brandon and Lewis, of course, DNFing earlier on.
Well, mate, you might as well do the interviews then, since I'm going to let you honour the final stream of us pairing.
Could you add them, please?
Yeah, I'll do the add-in, but you can do the honours to interview them all.
So it's obviously Matthew Santsu, like SANTSU 37.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell me that when I type it up. If PSN decides to load, that is. Okay, PSN, be stupid. Oh, I hate this sometimes. Come on. There we go. Right, so CRG Blizzard. Come on. Come on. It's not searching any names for some reason. So who was it again?
Santsu. So SANTSU 37.
SANTSU 37, yeah?
Yes.
It's legit not loading anything. It's just got XX square, XX circle circle, XX triangle triangle. What the hell's going on?
Okay, let me It's definitely, yeah. We're not going to get interviews, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I might as well.
PSN's definitely not working.
Well, I might as well add this little thing then. Well, to anybody who's still listening to the stream, next season I will not have my favourite co-commentator, Mr. Harrison. It's been an honour with him with comms, but he is now moving to F2 as a main commentator. If you guys do want to have a chance for an F1 commentary spot as it's vacant, do let me know. I've got a few possibilities who it could be. It could be Paco Suarez, it could be Jack Yates, it could even be Mr. Sandra Sohaug if you don't go up to the top tier. But I just wanted to add that little detail. If you guys are interested to be commentators, the door is always open. But I've got to say, Kevin, another great season.
Yeah.
I missed last week, unfortunately, but hopefully we can have a more turnouts next season, a better action-packed grid, and some more fights midfield. And hopefully someone can beat Matthew. But it's been an awesome season to commentate it over again.
Yeah, and all the same to you. It's been a pleasure. So, that's, of course, that ends the season. There's that's it. We're not going to see a race next week for the season. But all the championships are won. It's all said and done. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Of course, in the midfield, it's been very close. So there's always been a battle to watch. And be sure, if you're looking to sign up to IRL, be sure to do so. Sign-ups will be open soon, so look out for that. And apart from that, I hope you have a good day and a good rest of your evening, and good night.